just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. This is a problematic that is on every DAO, not only in Push DAO, but it's basically okay. Every DAO will have whales. Every protocol project will have whales, right? Those are people that have the capacity of taking decisions or not taking decisions, but really their voting power is too big, and they can direct things in some way, right? So the conversation here, it was Cryptoro who started this, right? But the conversation here is okay. Governance is getting more formal, right? We are creating better processes, but we still have that problem of okay, who are the delegates? Why don't we have better delegates? How can we do to ensure that token weight is not the only thing that will determine what the delegates do or who the delegates vote for, right, in a proposal. So this conversation is all about that. We have been bouncing ideas as to what's possible. Part of the things is that now we are having more groups working for the DAO. They should have more voting power, so we can add multipliers and stuff like that. That's very interesting, right? This is just like a draft of how our community is looking. It's different, but it's very close to this, right? And very recently, I had the opportunity to work with Jairus in another proposal for another project, and we were talking about this same problematic about how can we not only motivate people to delegate their tokens to trustworthy delegatees, um, but also how can we motivate delegatees or people that actually want to be a delegate to get that delegation from the token holders, right? One of the things that was interesting during that conversation is that Jaris has been working on I call it DAO social scoring. I'm not sure if that's the actual term that Jaris wants to use, but basically Jaris has been working on a tool that will tell you a score based on your DAO activity in forums and Discord and whatnot. And basically, if you want to be a delegate, then you want to be in front of the community. You want to be participating in an educated manner in the community. And that's what Jaris is building, and that's why Jaris is here. So, Jaris, maybe you want to explain us a little bit about what you're building.
Thank you for the warm introduction. Happy to be here with you guys at the Push community. So I'm working on this delegate incentive program for another project for an NFT marketplace DAO. And we were looking for creating a delegate incentive program. It was an idea that their head of strategy had for a while, and they were looking to get other projects in order to provide data like forum participation tally, for an example, as well, tally voting. So I already was working on a system to showcase pretty much like all of the context of DAOs, like what's going on forum posts. But then while I was on that call, since she was looking for tally information specifically, just took a look at the website and saw that it wasn't that difficult. It didn't look that difficult to scrape. So it took about a weekend to build that particular scraper. So I put together a database of every forum topic that they have and every forum post within that DAO, and then also put all the tally proposals and tally votes there as well to work on an algorithm to decide on the actual delegate score. So for this particular program, it's a delegate score, but overall, I would like to create a program that showcases the activity of, let's say, the top 100 DAOs in the space, and then that would be a DAO score. But this one was specifically for a delegate incentive program, and then we could create an algorithm based on the quality of the content that the delegate has posted on forum. So not just reward them because they posted on forum, because that could be exploited, but the actual content, like create a score based on how significant the content is, and then that's being worked on. Like the actual algorithm and the score is I'm being helped in that area by a dev on a team for the NFT marketplace DAO that I was talking about earlier. But anyway, we could pretty much just work on the actual content, and then they can also we're also scraping for like every single metric on forum. So whatever they have, like let's say the likes that they receive. So we're not just rewarding them because they have the most likes per se, but let's say what factors in, or basically like what's an additional factor for the likes that they receive would be based on who liked their posts. So like let's say like a core member of Push liking their post would be worth more than someone that created a brand new account that day, because obviously that could be exploited. So just want to work on a way of making this Sybil resistant. Um, but yeah, it's pretty much a high level overview of what I'm
And
working on here.
and just to expand a little bit, because I've been talking with Jairus about this. So Grasp on Crypto, he has been part of our community for forever. He is sharp, right? You read whatever he's putting in, he's really, really sharp. So basically, he was suggesting things like this. Okay, let's make it exciting. Let's put some game theory in place that will motivate delegators to delegate and delegates to do more so that they earn something. Because being a delegate is not an easy job. It requires you to analyze and understand every single proposal. Like if you want to be a good delegate, right? You can always be one of those delegates that just vote. But then what if we add motivation on top of it? We add incentives on top of it that
Mhm.
will make it interesting for you to be a delegate. And and then what we have been discussing is okay, um, we have delegators or people with large amounts of tokens that we actually want them to delegate because it will lock the tokens and it works in so many ways, right? uh, but how can we make it interesting for the delegatees to actually do an extra effort, and that is with incentives, of course. So what Jerry is just to maybe land the idea a little bit more. So what Jerry was saying, okay, is like CryptoRow, he's very well known in the space, right? He's very well known. He's from Manglers and he's from many other places. And he has been active in the forum for a lot of time, for a long time. Sorry. Then you start seeing his post, and he got 4 likes and comments and views and whatnot, and that's the social scoring, or that's where the social scoring is coming from. That's one of the alternatives, right, Jairus? But there's more to this.
Yeah, so yeah, that's where it comes from, the actual forum post here. And then we could use AI in order to create a score based on the content. So that's what was developed by another developer from the DAO. He basically had a, GPT-4 plugin of the database. So basically, I provided a database for him, and then he plugged in the information from the database, like every single post, into chat to GPT-4, and then that helped generate a score on the quality of the content itself. And then also in the database, it showcases all the likes that was received, and who actually liked their posts as well. Showcase all the usernames of the likers also,
Cool.
and replies too, like who actually replied to them. I could actually share my screen to show you guys what the database looks like if you'd like to
Yeah,
see.
and just to make sure that everyone, because I've been having this conversation, so I really understand a little bit more right now. Um, so basically, that those interactions between a delegate and the community, it really means something. Like if one conversation sparkled a lot of replies and likes and whatnot, there
Mhm.
is something in there, and that's what we want to spot. So basically, that those interactions between a delegate and the community, it really means something. Like if one conversation sparkled a lot of replies and likes and whatnot, there
Mhm.
is something in there, and that's what we want to spot, so that we can actually add it to the game theory that we end up implementing to make sure that that is interesting for people to join the protocol or the community or the DAO in a critical way, right? In like bringing critical thinking and critical feedback. Um, so yeah, that's why I invited Jairus, because not only he has been working in something like this, but he is also building a tool that will um, give us this DAO social scoring thing. Keep watching in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
group.
in the big picture here, for the tool I initially set out to create, is going to have the information for the top 100 DAOs. So, like in the database, I already have every topic discussion from Push Protocol. I just then go ahead and actually scrape each individual post within each topic that was created. But essentially, we'll have a score not just for delegates, but for every DAO member. So we see what quality they're bringing, and then we can also figure out who's the spammers in the forum. I don't know if you have that problem, but we could determine who's yeah, pretty much putting up spam posts or like Sybil related accounts. We can also determine those type of accounts based on the age of their profile and how active they were prior before making certain posts on the forum. But yeah, but essentially, basically we want to reward the members and help build a reputation profile for them, the ones that are actually providing content, like high quality content for the forum. So yeah, we'll see who like if they could spark discussions, how many replies they received, who replied to them, who liked their content, and just see if like pretty much like if they actually like building their reputation within the DAO and actually connecting with core members. Essentially, what I would like to do is partner with Push Protocol when we actually launch the prototype of this DAO member scoring. So like it's even like bigger than just the delegate score, but just to understand like everything that's going on within your DAO as far as like participants, at least on the forum and voting, whether snapshot or tally. Would like to partner with Push Protocol for sending notifications, for an example, and allowing all members of the platform to be able to message each other and do things like set up calls and stuff like that. Would love to set up an all-in-one productivity platform for DAO members, and I feel like Push Protocol will be it will play an essential role there because it would be the messaging infrastructure, and then just to make things more transparent within the DAO, send notifications to members to let them know that an important proposal is up or a very important topic discussion is up so that they don't miss it. So not just like a small cohort of DAO members vote on it and participate, especially if it's something that could basically like if it's like a post that's going to affect the DAO greatly, it would be nice if everyone within the DAO actually is notified of it and aware of it. So I feel like Push Protocol will play, a critical role there. So there's some visual here. So this one
There
is
is.
the example of what I've done well, for the Rari Foundation here. So here's the forum. It starts off here with the name of the project and then the forum link, which is this category page, Rari, forum.rari slash category, foundation slash categories. And then you go into the links. These are all the topics. And then the scraper it iterates over every single link here. So it goes over the links to actually retrieve the posts. But right here, you actually see who is the author of the post, like who actually created an initial post here. So we'll see who's the original posters. So who are the people that's actually providing the initial content for people to reply to. So we can see how many posts someone made. Let's see how many posts I made within Rari Foundation. So I made one. I made one public post. I replied to a few, but actual posts I've made with one. Let's see who was here. Let's see how many I remember fumbles. He made 5. So you can see like how many, like how much contribution someone's making to the actual form itself. It's the easy way to sort through. And then here's all the posts itself. So we'll see the author of each post, their role is being scraped as well. The actual content, and we have the full content here. On the SQL viewer, it's truncated, but we go inside here, we see we have the full content that we're picking up. So here in the console, you'll see we printed out the full content. It's not truncated. We have everything. And then we will just plug this database file into a GPT-4 plugin, for an example, and then use the AI to determine the actual quality of the content that was posted. So you could determine if it's like spam related or, low quality or high quality. And then we'll get to see the total likes here. And then the individual likers is all listed here. So you'll see all the usernames of the people that like them. And the replies as well. If they received any replies, they'll be here. And we also made another column to easily just see who are the individual repliers. So for an example, this post down here that was made by Rito Rhymes, he received 2 replies. Well, he replied to 1 as well, so that's why I came up in here. But yeah, Jaff replied to him here, and then he replied to his response to that same post. That's why he showed up in repliers also. And yeah, so that's pretty much everything there. And then We also scrape for links. It basically scrapes everything on the forum. So you have all post links, how many times links were clicked. So we'll see the activity of the links that they share, and if that's getting more attention from the DAO or not. Every single link, all images, and then it also connects to the title of the post, so we could link that back to forum links as well to see how many views are received and so on. And then I had to create a unique post identifier so it doesn't print duplicates as well. So that was something I had to debug for over the weekend, but it's ironclad now to make sure that no post is duplicated in the database. But yeah, guys, that's everything there. Yeah, and you see the total replies as well. So you see there's two replies here, and it shows up in the total replies column as well. So essentially, we got every bit of data within the forum. Nothing is left out. And then we have tally proposals as well. So far as a total of 20 for this particular DAO. And it scrapes all the information there from the person that posted the proposal, the author of the proposal, the date it was published, status, if it met quorum or not, and obviously majority support, and then all the values here for, against, and abstain. And then here's the actual votes. So it was a total of 135 votes. We have their usernames. As you can see, some people have ENS usernames. On Tally, if their username is a wallet address, is truncated here. But had to pretty much, it took a while to figure this part out, but I had to debug for that and figure out how to extract the actual full address. But we got that going as well. So we got their full address here, their voting power, well, their vote amount, voting power, and the direction that they voted for, proposal title, and so on. And then if you guys are on Snapshot, I'm not sure if you guys are on Tally, but if you're on Snapshot, I would just have to build a separate scraper for that. But I took a look at Snapshot. It seems fairly simple as well. And yeah, we could get started anytime you guys are ready for that. We'll love to create another database for you guys also.
Awesome. No, and anyway, the reason why I keep inviting different people to join our governance calls is because you actually can bring some insights that we are not looking into. But yeah, Jairus, hopefully you can stay engaged with this conversation that we have ongoing in our forum, and as we go making progress with this, maybe we can start testing this tool that you're building.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. And then for the grand vision of this platform, really want to create a all-in-one DAO platform. Really something to replace Discourse and Discord altogether in the near future. But we'd love for Push Protocol to play a big role in that, especially with creating token-gated chats, for an example. I know you guys are working on your own video infrastructure, so I'd love for people to be able to set up meetings on the platform, so to be able to have the equivalent experience of a Google Meet call or Zoom call, but on this particular platform, powered by Push. So yeah, would love to build on this together, and I'll let you guys know the advancements that's being made. So very soon I'm gonna start scraping for every individual post of 100 DAOs on Discourse. Basically the top 100 DAOs. So it's gonna be around. It's definitely gonna be over 1 million posts in there. So the actual the AI that we could create of that would be very powerful with all that information. And yeah, definitely would like Push to be a part of this, and then explore ways for data ownership for every member of the platform, and then create another area of revenue for DAOs as well, so that they could create data pools for their own DAO. For anyone that wants to, let's say, like a DAO tool, want to provide some type of service and wants to understand more about the DAO, then they could purchase pretty much purchase data from the DAO directly, and then that could be just another source of revenue. This is still a novel idea, still something I'm like thinking of and iterating on, but definitely would like to build this together and just come up with some ideas to create something that really resonates with the space and cryptography, data ownership, data privacy, and all those types of things. Yeah, definitely looking forward to building with you.
Just a few comments. What you're building is pretty awesome. Most similar to this only reference like snapshot data. So the activity on the forum is not usually weighted. So usually when people are trying to look for delegates, they just you know, look at who's most active on Snapshot. But the inclusion of like discourse data is pretty valuable. Uh, I was in terms of questions, just curious, like how you would weight, how you would weight or like sort of give like a rating system to delegates or to DAO members. You know, like what sort of criteria would you give more weight, or or is it more of like DAO members would have like a different rating system to delegates, or or you just build depending on the DAO, you sort of build like a custom solution. Maybe some DAOs don't have that active of a discourse and they're more interested in like tally or and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's always a pleasure being here as well, and glad to get to connect with you guys. But yeah, no, it's a little bit different in like to determine a delegate score versus a DAO member score, because much more goes into like actual contribution as a DAO member, because certain members aren't that active on forum altogether. They could contribute in other ways. Like I pretty much got my fitting within the DAO space from Bankless DAO, and most of my contributions were things like setting up AMAs, research, hosting events, things like that. So I like to create a system where we can put work on chain, and I like to work closely with Rarible for creating soulbound token like achievements. So basically, mint out achievements and distribute it to members of the platform or a particular DAO, and have a experience that's very similar to a PlayStation, for an example, when you receive a trophy for a certain achievement and then you get a notification. So that's where Push Protocol would come in, where it actually sends the notification in real time if you unlocked an achievement. The way that I see it for delegates, for an example, or the way how delegates fit in here, it's like, yeah, I mean, most people when they track delegate participation is pretty much, them voting, whether snapshot or voting on chain via tally. But it doesn't provide any context there. I don't have any idea what the delegate is all about, really. I mean, I have an idea what like the direction that they're voting in, but I don't really have much context about them overall. So that's where like where the forum plays an important role to get an idea of the conversations that were had leading up to a proposal going on snapshot or tally. And then as far as determining the quality of their posts, would have to use some type of AI model. I would love to build one from scratch, but in this partnership with Rari Foundation, they used an algorithm with GPT-4. So it's simpler just to hook it up to GPT-4 and have GPT-4 determine the quality of the content. And maybe next time I can invite him, Christian from Rari Foundation, to actually provide more insights into how he created the algorithm, because I didn't do that part. But I do want to create some future algorithms for DAO members. That's how my initial plan was. So, like for an example, one thing I would like to do is identify up and comers in the DAO. So let's say to make DAOs more merit based, to actually create a DAO that's based on merit as opposed to popularity, pretty much, or like because like the way that we have it set up now is more so like roles can be exploited. Like if anyone can run for a role and then they just have influence within a DAO, they could pretty much earn a role even if they don't deserve it, or even if they don't really have the skill set to perform at a high capacity for that particular role. So I like to introduce achievements. So like let's say you need a combination of achievement badges to be eligible for a particular role, and then I could be a partnership with Hatch Protocol for actually putting the role on chain. But overall, like one idea, I'll just share this one, this quick idea for this. So, like, let's say you want to identify someone that has the potentiality of becoming a community manager. Let's say one of the criteria is you need a up and comer badge, and that up and comer badge would be, let's say you need to receive a total of 10 likes from 10 different core members of the DAO. And that lets you know that you're actually creating content that resonates with the core members. So, and then the criteria had to be like within your first year of the DAO. So, like within your first year of the DAO, you connected and created content that resonated with the core members of the DAO. Now you receive an up and comer badge, and that's one of the badges that that makes you eligible to receive a community manager role, for an example. But yeah, I would like to pretty much tie achievements made within the DAO to earning roles. That's how I see it for members. But the actual delegate scores, we pretty much just factor in the content, factor in the content that's made from delegates on forum, and then just pretty much tying that into like if they actually voted or not. So if they voted or not, that will add more points to their score overall. But the actual algorithm, I would need Christian here to explain how he actually put that together
It,
for
it,
delegate scores in general.
but one thing, Jerry, is that I one thing I really like about what you're doing is that tracking contributions from DAO members, like we got Carla here on stage, not on stage, but in the audience, right? And she's part of the globalizations of DAO, right? So it's easier to track contributions and reputation in general for people that is actually providing something to the DAO like that. But delegates, it have been something that forever have been left aside, right? Delegation, in my opinion, this is a personal opinion, but it was unfair because it really does. Like if you want to be a good delegate, you better be really well educated on the topic that you want to
Right.
help, right? And it takes time, it takes efforts, it takes a lot of things that were not being taken into consideration before. And what you're doing is creating the reputation layer for governance, and
Mhm.
that's different. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Especially to maintain delegate status. Like we're coming into Rari Foundation from the delegate launchpad program, and that's for a specific amount of time. So to be able to maintain delegate status, you have to have have built up a pretty good reputation for yourself within that DAO to build trust and allow for people to want to continue to delegate to you. So it just shows how important forum participation is. I mean, there's not that much tooling out there to actually showcase people's contribution on forum, but that's why we need to create something for it. So like when they mentioned that they wanted to create a delegate incentive program and receive the data from forum posts and from voting, and they mentioned about reaching out to another like a third party to receive it, and they may have to pay a certain amount for it. Since I was already working on this, just wanted to provide that for free, and just gonna bring more clarity once they have dashboards as well, because it's not like people are gonna like the delegator is not really going to spend that much time on forum to look at every each individual's participation there. So it'll just be much more streamlined if they could just see who's the top participants in a dashboard.
Jairus mentioned something about
You might want to
dashboards.
take a look at some point. I think it was me who mentioned the multipliers, because what you're mentioning, it goes aligned with that, with adding multipliers to different types of contributors in the DAO. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
like that idea too. Like let's hop on a call sometime 60 and just jam on some ideas. Cause yeah, just overall would love for Push to play a big role in this. You guys have the hottest, messaging infrastructure. Really enjoy you guys' community. Yeah, would love to build together. I like that idea of dynamic badges. I won't spend too much time on it, but yeah, it reminds me just like with the PlayStation achievement badges, you have bronze level achievements, silver, gold, and so on. So we could definitely factor that in. So we could like get on a call, jam on some ideas, put some stuff together.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I'll message you on this one.
All right, looking forward to it.
awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so the other topic for the second half of this meeting, PGPv3, right? To get everybody on the same page, this timeline says it all. But basically, we passed 1 month of brainstorming in our forum, and after the brainstorming, we put a working group, right? 60 is there in the working group. Also, two other members, one other member from the globalizations of DAO, and then there is one former grantee that decided to join the working group. So we try to capture as fast and simple as possible the guidelines and requirements for the grants program. So we've been putting them together, sharing them in the forum, everything that we have been capturing, right? And we came up with an initial proposal draft that is not final yet. That's why we have not. Um, that's why we have not published it yet. The working group is available, or it's there for anyone who wants to join and share ideas and whatnot. But basically, here we are putting everything together that we actually are planning. And the TLDR is super, super important. What um, 60 is saying here, it makes sense. Is the community elected? Well, I'm going to add it later. But the TLDR is that we want to run a 3-month program that is owned and run by the community, right? By a grants council elected by the community, and that for this initial iteration, we are going to focus on micro and rapid grants. Micro and rapid grants for Push, they range from $500 to $2,000. You can imagine that the 500 grants are for projects that are starting, but it's our way of saying, hey, let's try to make this happen, right? To help builders and help them get up to speed. But that doesn't mean that they are going to be eligible only for one grant, but they can follow a multi-grant approach. So if they really do their work well and they really do their part, their homework, then they can apply for another grant, right? These the 2,000 grants are usually something that we have been given to projects that they already have a working product, and that they are, implementing Push is not the most complex thing in the world. A developer will do it in no time, like an experienced developer. The real challenge is getting more adoption, right? So these rapid grants are focused on that initial adoption that is super, super hard to get. But of course, once you are a grantee, then you can get all the companionship from Push, and that is all the different platforms that we have put together for grantees, so that they create more awareness about what they are building, and they get help from our development team as well if needed. And we are suggesting a total budget of $50,000. Why? Because for now it's very arbitrary. But it's basically, yeah, if we, let's say we get only rapid grant applications, then it's going to be 25, right? The rate that we have been observing with Push, it's about from 5 to 10 monthly grants approved, right? We get applications, we get like 25 to 30 applications a month, but some of them are going to be rejected. Part of what we want with this council is transparency. Why are those applications are being rejected? But playing with a 50K budget will allow us to continue at the rate we are going right now at a minimum, right? But part of the challenges and opportunities for this council is not only processing grants, but making our grants our grants program more available, more visible to the community, so that they can opt into receiving grants. Like this that Jaris was saying. Jaris is a perfect example of somebody that could apply for a grant and say, hey, this is what I'm building, and this is why I see so much value in adding Push to my project. And I apologize if you hear a lot of background noise. If you wanna, we are going to start sharing this in the forum. The idea for all of you that don't know how this goes is basically we're going to put these proposals once we feel good, and we are going to get more comments. I was saying when this meeting started today that because of Dev Connect and everybody going to Istanbul, things are going really, really slow right now. So this timeline that I was sharing before, it might be the case that it's going to be delayed a little bit. But one of the things that we have been discussing in the working group is that we want to do this right. We want to take lessons learned from Arbitrum, lessons learned from many other programs, and we want to do this right rather than doing it fast. The idea is that we can start Q1 2024, or season 1 that we call with Push. The idea is that we are going to start season 1 2024 with Push. The abstract, you can read this once we put it in the forum. I can share it. Again, the working group is public, so anybody can join and cooperate to this, add their comments and whatnot. I'm not going to go over the motivation and rationale and all these things, although here is one part that I find especially interesting, right? How we're going to work, it's going to be a grants council where there's going to be one person leading the grants council and one person as an evaluator role, where Push will have a seat. But Push and that's going to be me from Push, because I've been running or leading the grants program for this year. And one of the things that we want is a lead person, an evaluator person, and Push just sitting in there as an spectator with the emergency switch, right? If it's needed that something is stopped, then Push is going to be there for the initial iteration only. What we want is to do a controlled iteration first, and then hopefully by season two 2024, we say, nah, this runs so well with full autonomy and everything. You run it from now on, community, right? Let me read Carla's question. It would be interesting to build a reputation system and push DAO that distinguishes between the roles of contributor. Yes, Carla, you're on the right track. Gosh, this is an interesting conversation, that an interesting thing that Carla is mentioning, because yeah, now we're seeing, like, Carla. For those of you that don't know, Carla is part of our globalization sub DAO. She's right now she's the project manager in charge of the Latam ambassadors, and definitely she's got a different type of reputation based on her contributions to delegates and things that we have been working. But now we're thinking about grants as a sub DAO. So there will be other people involved in this sub DAO, and it's homework we need to do to start really working on reputation, not only to affect the voting power and things like that, but reputation is a must, so that you get exposure to different opportunities within the DAO. I'm going to go quickly over this because, as I'm saying, this is open, public, transparent for anybody and everybody to join. And it's going to the forum in a few days. We are listing all the Grants Council authorities and responsibilities here. I when I was putting this, I forked this from Arbitrum Questbook, like what's going to be metric and details that they are tracking, or this council should be tracking, right? And I just put the comment that I'm forking it from there because it's a copy paste, right? I really like what they put here. I just removed a couple of items in there. The grants council election, I see some questions in there that I didn't see until now. But basically, yeah, we need to ensure if we need to do some KYC or something. I think we might skip that for this iteration, but I'm not sure. So that's something that needs to be find out. The thing is that it's going to be, again, public. There's going to be elections done through governance where people can say, hey, I want to nominate myself to run the grants sub DAO, and it's going to be council nominations for 1 week and then council election for 4 days in snapshot. There are still conversations as to how can we make this faster. Maybe if we run elections for the lead person on the grants council, then the second runner up could be the evaluator role, right? Again, that's something that we are discussing, and we also add something. This is still to be defined. This is not written in stone yet, but it's basically us saying, okay, what's going to be the incentives? This is going to be an incentivized position. I mean, we really want people to do a good job for this, and there's going to be a different reward system, a different reward for the lead person and the evaluator person. That for now, these are the numbers that we're coming with, but again, these are not written in stone right now. Push, of course, will not have anything, but just the emergency switch that I'm mentioning here. And the program logistics, which I've been mentioning. This is season one, and there's going to be a save that where Push will have the last signature, right? It will always require a signature from Push, at least during this initial iteration. And yeah, tooling is something that we have. Well, I think there is a community approval of going with Gitcoin just because it offers everything that we are looking to do with this initial iteration with one single tool. HeadG is really cool, but it comes um, after grants have been allocated. So there's a still discussion to do around that if we want to introduce HeadG. Um, the thing is that Gitcoin gives us the pre-work, the during the application stage, thing, and then the post application thing, right? So what I really like about Hedgie is that it brings one of the best dashboards that I've seen. So we might end up using the two of them, but again, still for discussion. Timelines and the overall cost, which is just a summary of everything. Uh, oh, I haven't seen this one. Cool. Uh, not sure who added this one, but it's interesting. We are building this document within the working group that we have ongoing in Telegram.
With that grant framework that they have, they also allow for the distribution of the grant, like that's time
Yes.
locked, like Hedgie, or okay, so it's the entire grant program that they've created.
Yeah, yeah. But that's one of the things. Hedgie, it's I think I told you, but Hedgie to me it starts once the grant starts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and it does it so well. I need to research a little more Gitcoin how it does it, but yeah, it does pretty much the same thing about you being able to release installments to the grantees according to
Mhm.
milestones, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just a correction, Gitcoin, you get the whole grant amount at once. So once you're approved, you receive the full amount. They don't have a milestone system. AG does have a milestone system, but it's like time based, let's say like
Hmm.
every week or every month.
We should probably talk about that 60 because um I believe they had something that you can release installments based on milestones, but I will double check and I will share that video with everyone in the governance channel or somewhere else. Um, but yeah, I mean it's interesting if Hedgie does it, right? I know Hedgie. So we might end up using the two of them if it makes sense.
Yeah, it'd probably be possible to use it in conjunction with each other, only because I know Hedgie and Gitcoin has a very close relationship with each other. They kind of like work in unison. I know that yeah, they I think Gitcoin was one of the first projects that Hedgie worked with as far as distributing time lock tokens for. But being that Hedgie's open source and like how we actually go ahead with distributing milestone based allocations, it doesn't have to be specifically based on time itself. You could just base it around the milestone, write a condition for it to unlock once that KPI is hit, for an example. That's something that would have to be talked to like with the devs on the team to put that together, or look at the source code to create that. But being that it's open source, we could edit it and pretty much set it up however we want to. I'm pretty sure the Gitcoin framework is also open source, but we just like to
Yeah,
understand them both,
it is. It
like
is.
especially Gitcoin one a bit more, just to see how
But
it could work in unison if
but
possible.
you're right, and you just reminded me this post that you did on this grants program thing where you say, I mean, it's not that Hedge is testing anything. They just handled 25 million Arbitrum token
Hmm.
grants. So there's plenty of things to review here. Um, anyway, going back to topic, program logistics. Reminding this to everybody. While we are here, and the idea was that we go to the forum this coming week, we are not really pushing ourselves to go there as fast as we can. We really want to do this in the right way. Even if we cannot start on January 1st, 2024, it's not our priority. Our priority is to create a community owned grants program where Push have to do nothing but just, being an spectator, and that it incentivizes participants to do their best. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jairus. Always a pleasure having you. All right. I think we can wrap up for today. Thank you so much to everyone for joining today. If you want to join the working group, it's there. It's interesting. We're putting this together, and there is plenty of opportunity to participate. Thank you so much. Have a good one.